Alright, welcome to part 2 of Project 36, the YouTube debut, and the third playthrough of version 3.2. And we're going to start right off the bat. We're at the top of round 4, so this would be fall of 1937. And nationalist Spaniards are going, so they start with 16 bucks. They're buying 2 infantry and a light cruiser. So all they're going to do this turn is take Zaragoza and start positioning for the inevitable future in which they will join the Axis and start going to war with the Allies. So pretty much we're just going to send an infantry from Madrid up to Zaragoza and another infantry from Madrid to Zaragoza. That's pretty much it for combats this turn. So we'll go up to 12 here, and Republicans will go down to 2. And then non-combats, we're going to start bringing stuff down to Seville, like so. This guy in Valencia will go up to Barcelona, and then we'll go ahead and place our units. So, shouldn't ship this, but we'll put 1 infantry in Madrid, 1 infantry in Seville, and then the light cruiser will also go in Seville. And then they collect 12 bucks to end their turn. Alright, so we're skipping over Republican Spain since they can't do anything, going straight to Germany. Germany is starting with $45. They're spending it all. 2 fighters, 1 heavy bomber, 2 infantry, and 2 mobile infantry. So for diplomacy, Germany is going to try to align Switzerland, which they fail, and then they'll try to align Czechoslovakia, which they also, I'm going to re-roll that because I think I just got, nope, I just 3 5s in a row. That was impressive. So, the Germans, those money's in the bank. So the Germans really need to sink this Anglo-British fleet here. If they don't, then the British are going to have control of the seas for the foreseeable future. And Germany doesn't want that. They don't want the British landing units in, well, mainland Europe. So we're going to see if we can't send all these planes over and try to sink those. So all these planes are going to be going 1, 2, 3 over yonder. And we're going to see if we can drop some bombs and hit those. Now, a lot of these ships are going to get anti-air shots, and we are probably going to lose a couple of these planes. But we really, really need to take those ships out. Actually, can this bomber? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, it can. There you go. So the bomber will have 3 left. 1, 2, 3. These guys will have 2 left. 3, 2. And those bombers will have 1, 2, 3, 4 left. Alright, and then combat in the mainland. We're going to send the 2 tanks from Belgium down to Nancy. And that's we're going to send these 3 tanks from Paris through Brest to take Bordeaux as well. So those are just walk-ins. We take those. So we go up a buck. France goes down a buck. And so I will roll for these battles and we will see the results. Alright, so complete success all around for the Germans. So they won Nancy with no losses. So they'll go up another buck there. France down another buck. And they also succeeded in C-Zone, whatever this is, 17. They lost their fighter, but they managed to take out 2 destroyers and a cruiser from the Allies. So that helps them quite a bit for now. And we'll go ahead and land the planes, do some non-combats. So all of these, all of the ships, dang, what's going on upstairs? So the tactical, or the dive bomber, will go ahead and land there in Belgium, and so will one of the bombers, and then the other 2 bombers will land in Paris. Now I wanted to land all the planes in Belgium, but I don't have enough air bases here to support all the planes. So 1 empty territory can support 1 plane, and then for each plane on top of that you need an air base. So like Britain here has 3 air bases and they have 4 planes. This is the maximum amount of planes that can be held in London. They'll have to start building more air bases to support more. So each of these territories can only support 2, so I have to distribute them. I think that's literally it for non-combat for Germany. They don't want to really move anything else. yeah, that looks like it's all. So we'll go ahead and mobilize 2 fighters in Cologne, bomber in Berlin. We're going to have to build some air bases next round for sure. We'll mobilize 2 infantry in Paris, and actually we're going to put the infantry in Belgium. We'll put the 2 mobile infantry in Paris. So there you go. Germany's going to be in their turn collecting $30 plus 5 from convoys. Alright, so Russia's turn. I keep forgetting to do this, but Finland was supposed to take their turn again and build another infantry there in Helsinki. I forgot to do that, so we'll get to Russia's turn here. Alright, so Russia is going to roll some diplomacy. They're going to try to align Romania again, as usual. That is a fail. Shocker! And they'll go ahead and actually, Bulgaria is technically pro-Russian while they're not at war with Germany, so they don't need to align them. What else could they do then? They could go ahead and try to align Czechoslovakia, I suppose. Fail. I'm so surprised. Alright, so they start with $28. They're spending it all. Here on 6 infantry, 1 mobile infantry, and 1 tank. Well, they can't declare war on Romania yet since they used their diplomacy, so they're going to just continue to shuffle things to the border. Really, they can't attack Helsinki until next round. Actually, yes, they can. They can use the 2 fighters here. They're not at war with Poland, so they don't have to worry about the fighters being shot down by this cruiser. So yeah, we'll go ahead and we'll attack Helsinki with our 6 infantry, and we'll send these two fighters 1, 2 to strafe. And see what we can do there. Alright, so Russia got about 7 hits on the first round with the strafes, and Finland only took out 2 of their infantry, so that was a huge success for them. They're going to be taking that, going up $2. They're keeping the Germans honest, staying at about the same income. So then we'll go to non-combats. So the 3 infantry in Leningrad, we'll go ahead and shuffle over to Vyborg. The 2 fighters in Helsinki will land in Leningrad. And then we'll continue to shuffle things to the border with the Romanians, like so. This submarine is going to stay here because now when we go to war with Italy, we'll have a convoy there. And that's going to do it for Russia. That's really all they can do, so they're going to go ahead and mobilize units. So 3 infantry will go in Moscow, 2 infantry will go in Kiev, 1 infantry will go in Lviv, and the tank and mobile infantry will go ahead and go in Donetsk. So Russia will end their turn collecting 30 IPCs. Alright, so it's Poland's turn. They start with $8, and they're going to spend 6 of it on 2 infantry. They're saving 2, because they'll collect 8 at the end of the turn, and they're hoping to buy a fighter on their next turn. So they're going to be doing a whole lot of the same stuff they've been doing, just moving whatever unit they build to the front line and preparing to go to war with Germany. So then they'll go ahead and place their 2 infantry in Warsaw and collect their $8. Alright, so it's Britain's turn, and they are finally going to invite Poland to the Allies, and they're going to accept. So the guarantee that the French had on them will go away, because faction members cannot guarantee each other because they're already guaranteed. So, Britain calling Poland into the Allies. Now Poland is called into their war against Germany. So Germany is really going to have to deal with some crap on their front line. Get some grounders on the ground really soon. So then Britain is going to try to align Portugal with the diplomatic role here. Dude, Britain has had like amazing alignment roles. So that's a success. So there we go. They're going to also get Portugal this turn. There you go. Dang. Flawless. Absolutely flawless. Alright, so in terms of combat moves, our transport didn't get destroyed last round. Don't know why that is, but this transport is also still alive, so we could make some naval landings against the Germans. Do we want to? That's the question. So we have a naval port here, so this guy can move 3. Same with this transport. Now we can't get to Portugal this turn. but actually we could send a guy down to prepare. So I don't think we're going to do combat, but what we will do is we'll take this transport, grab this guy, and go 1, 2, 3, and we'll get him prepared to take Portugal next turn, since we can't reach it this turn. So if we're doing non-combat, we'll go ahead and just shuffle these guys into Gothenburg, and we'll take Sweden, and I'll go ahead and get their units on the board real quick. Okay, so Sweden is actually the second most powerful neutral minor power in this entire game. So they built quite a bit of stuff. They built an airbase, a dockyard, a heavy bomber, an infantry, and a destroyer, all for the British. And I wanted to mention, I did forget to say, Britain started out with $42, so they bought 4 infantry, an airbase, a fighter, and an artillery at the beginning of their turn. So we'll finish up non-combat moves here. So this transport still hasn't moved at all. It cannot move into here still, since the battleship would destroy it. So what can it do? It can move 3. We can grab 2 guys. Where would we want to take them? That's the question for non-combat. I mean, we could take 2 guys to Denmark. We could take 2 guys to Holland. They would die a completely useless death either way. So we're going to do neither. We'll just ship it to join the fleet, bring our light cruiser down to join them as well. And then we'll go ahead and place units. So we're going to place 4 infantry in London, and we're going to place another air base there in London. So then we'll place a fighter. That fighter is our 5th unit, so we'll go ahead and place an artillery there in Wales. So Britain is going to be collecting a base now of 22 because they got Sweden. They'll be collecting an additional 8 from France and 6 from the Dutch, and then 4 from tension. So 10, 18, 22. So they'll collect a total of 40 IPCs, including 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 48 IPCs for the next round. Alright, so it's France's turn, and they can't do much, but they still have diplomacy. So they're going to try to align Switzerland first. That would help the Allies. Nope. So Czechoslovakia already starts the game pro-French, so they'll go ahead and use their second action to go ahead and guarantee the Czechs. So that if the Germans do decide, or the Italians, do decide to go to war with the Czechs, that the French will be called in and they won't get left behind. Other than that, France has literally nothing to do, so we'll go ahead and skip to Italy. Actually, I lied about France. Whoa. Hello, dogs. They're going to go ahead and take the transport down, pick up the guy from Algiers, shuffle him over, pick up the guy from Iran, shuffle him back up, and offload those 2 guys in Marseille. It's not worth defending this money down here. They're just going to try to defend Marseille for as long as they can. Alright, so it is Italy's turn, and they'll go ahead and do their diplomatic roles first. They'll try to align Switzerland. Everyone wants Switzerland, just for kicks and giggles. Here we go. Oh, that's a success. Wow. So the first successful alignment of Switzerland comes from Italy. Surprising. Alright, there's that. And that is not an alignment. That is a guarantee. That's an alignment. I just color code it so that I know for myself. And then they'll go ahead and try to align Hungary. Shake that up nice and good. Make sure we're not rolling. Just flopping it. And still a success. Dang. So Italy and Britain have been on a roll aligning things, which has been interesting. Because everyone else has just been rolling garbage for alignment. So there's that. So Italy, they're starting with $23. They're only spending 21 of it on 3 infantry and 2 transports, so they're going to save $2 for next turn. So now Italy has an interesting choice. They could totally go to war with France right now and go to war with the Allies. They're in a good position to do that. However, their land, that's where they're weak, is on land. So they've got a good position in the sea. It's round 4, and that would cause 2 tension because the Italians are not in the Axis yet. So they're going to take Switzerland this turn. That's going to give them an infantry and cavalry at least. They're going to take Hungary this turn, which is 12 $15 worth of stuff. That's not going to be on the front line, though. We'll go ahead and we'll do it, and we'll see how it works out for us. We'll go ahead and declare... Oh, we can't declare war. Never mind. Just kidding, guys. We used our 2 diplomatic actions, and we can't even consider going to war. So, we'll just go to non-combat moves then. We'll move this guy up to Switzerland, and we'll grab an infantry and a cavalry. Boom. And we'll move one of these guys from Austria over to Hungary, and I'll go ahead and spend the $15 real quick. Alright, so Hungary went ahead and produced 1 infantry and 3 mobile infantry for the Italians. Then Italy is just going to move some stuff around, like, there. All moved. Actually, they are going to move these 2 infantry up to the front line for now, just for some extra safety. So then placing units, they're going to place 1 infantry in Rome and 2 in Bologna. So that'll give them 11 infantry in Rome, which is a lot. And then they'll place their 2 transports, surprise, in with this big old fleet here. So Italy will end their turn collecting 27 IPCs. Alright guys, so the Dutch could go, but there's nothing for them to do, so here's an end of round recap for victory conditions. So the Axis have to capture and hold 23 victory points for an entire round to win the game. They are currently at 10, and the Comintern has to get to 16 for an entire round to win. They're currently at 9. And again, the Allies have to just hold either any faction they're at war with from winning for 15 rounds. They have survived 4 rounds so far. So, it is leaning towards an Axis victory. We'll see how it goes. It's about to be a shooting war. Now Poland's in it, and Great Britain, they just got Sweden. They're about to grab Poland. Yes, the nationalists are about to join the Axis in 2 rounds, but, you know, Britain's going to be right there knocking on their doorstep. So we're going to see if the Allies can keep the Axis honest, or if the Axis are just going to roll them over. In round 3, round 5, sorry, here in a second. Alright, so we're moving to round 5, and it's Nationalist Spain's turn again. So, start things off. They've got $12. They're going to be spending it all on a tank and a mech, or a mobile infantry. 2 combat moves, an infantry from Zaragoza going into A Coruña, and an infantry from Zaragoza going into Bilbao. So that officially ends the Spanish Civil War. Now Nationalist Spain can be invited to the Axis, and they can actually start fighting in the real war, as it were. So, that'll take them up to 14, and Republican Spain goes down to 0, so we're just going to put their round off to the side for now, over here. And for non-combat moves, the British are going to be on the front line, and we are going to join the Axis theoretically this round. So, here's what we'll do. We'll go ahead and send this artillery up to Barcelona. Britain should be at war with us by the time it gets their turn, because Germany goes next, and they're going to invite us to the Axis. So... okay, here. We'll do something super cheeky. We'll send this light cruiser up to Sea Zone 26. That will block the transport in 25 from liberating Portugal. Oh, I like it. I like it a lot. That's cheeky. So that blocks them from liberating Portugal. So that we'll go ahead and send this artillery back to Madrid then. And we'll send our transport up 1. Do we want to move it at all? Is it safer down here? I think it's actually safer down here. So we'll go ahead and leave it, and we'll just mobilize our 2 units. Our mobile infantry and our tank in Madrid, and we'll collect $14. Alright, so it's Germany's turn, and they are now at war with Poland, which is very, very, very unfortunate for them. They have virtually no ground units to speak of. So they're gonna see what they can do with what they've got, and they don't have a lot of diplomacy to do either anymore, since Italy's been gobbling up everything down here. So I thought about it. I thought about inviting the nationalists to the Axis, and it would be a very good idea to prevent Britain from taking Portugal, because that is very bad for the Spaniards if they do that and join the Axis. However, if Germany invites Spain to the Axis now, then their fleet is doomed, because this fleet's going to hit them. So if that fleet doesn't hit them, then their planes will hit them for sure. So we're going to try to take out the British fleet, but I think what Germany's going to do is invite Italy to the Axis instead, which Italy will obviously accept. And second diplomatic action, what should they do? I don't want to invite Spain to the Axis just because I want them to be able to keep their ships, build more ships, because we need them to have a fleet. We really, really need them to have a fleet. Yeah, we're not going to do it yet. We're going to wait at least one round. Give them a sec to build a ship or two. We'll go ahead and try to align Romania, since Russia hasn't been able to do it. We'll try to do it. And that's a fail, of course. All right, so then Germany has $35. They're spending it all on 7 infantry and 2 transports. So for combat, let's see what we can do here. Not a ton. Can we take Marseille? So they have 8 infantry here, which is a lot of infantry. We could take this, or we could leave it to the Italians. I think we want to leave it to the Italians. So let's go ahead and let's just take Montpellier, and send this tankette to gobble up Lyon and Orleans, because why the heck not? That's 2 free monies that we wouldn't get otherwise. So we'll go up $2 there. France will go down another 2. And then, like I said, we're going to try to sink this Allied fleet again. So these bombers will go 2. And these bombers will go 2. These fighters will go 3. So the fighters will have 2 left. Strategic bombers will have 5 left. And that guy will have 3 left. Alright, so then obviously the British fighter can scramble. Does he want to? I don't think he does, because he would just die. So the only thing that the fighter could really do is probably take out another fighter or 2 and then die. Actually, yeah, that gives us, with the anti-air shots from the cruisers, all those cruisers, that gives us the best odds of taking out a majority of their bombers. So we'll go ahead and scramble, see what we can do there. And that's going to be this and that. That's going to be the only 2 combats. So I'll roll these and I'll get right back. Okay, so I forgot to remove these guys. The Germans did win in Montpellier at the loss of 1 tank. I just rolled that, forgot to remove the casualties. So they'll be taking that, another $1 for them, so they'll go up to 33. France down to 5. And in against the fleet, the Germans did win the dogfight, destroying the British fighter. The British fighter took out a German fighter. Then all of the ships missed their anti-air shots, and then all the German planes missed against the ships. So that was a very anemic battle. Just accomplished virtually nothing other than both sides lost a fighter. So that was pretty much worthless. So we'll go ahead and land our planes. 2 bombers will go back to Paris. These 2 bombers will go back to Belgium. And the fighter will land in Dunkirk. Actually, this fighter will go 1-2. He'll land in Bordeaux. And then that's really it. We can just place our units now. So we're placing 6 infantry in Berlin, seeing as Poland is going to be invading us this turn. We're going to buy 2 transports, or place our 2 transports in the factory in Hamburg, as well as 1 infantry. So we're building those transports. We got to prepare to take London, but it looks like we're going to have to take Sweden first. So we'll see how it goes, and coming up is Russia. Alright, so here's Russia, and their diplomacy first. They have not aligned Romania up until this point, so they have enough stuff on the front line. They're going to go ahead and declare war on them. They didn't want to do it this way, but they need to get that money. So what the Comintern plans to do is they're going to finish gobbling up these neutrals. Again, Bulgaria is pro-Russian, so they're going to eventually get through Romania and take that. And as soon as they have established a border with the Italians, then they're probably going to declare war on the Axis, since Italy is definitely the weakest link. So Italy's going to have to start using this factory, and considering that that's an option themselves. But we'll see how it goes. So they're going to declare war on Romania, so I'll build their stuff in a second. But they have a second diplomatic action, and that will be, what do they want to do? They'll go ahead, and why not? Let's try to align Greece. That's a fail. Alright, so I'll go ahead and put the build on for Romania real quick. Alright, so Romania decided to spend all their money on 9 infantry and 1 tank. And so now the Russians buy their units. They spent all $30 that they had. They're buying 10 infantry total. Yeah, 10 infantry total. So here's the game plan. Shove. That's pretty much it. They're just gonna shove everything into Cluj. They would blitz units through. They would die though. I mean, I guess they could grab a few extra bucks if they did that. It's not worth losing a $6 unit though, so they'll opt to not. These 2 units can also move in there, and then they're gonna take out Finland. So they're gonna send the 4 infantry from Helsinki and 3 from Vyborg. Take out that last Finnish guy. Roll that real quick and see how it goes. Alright, shockingly enough, the Russians won that battle. So they go up a buck, and they grab this Romanian territory for free. So they go up another buck to 32. And non-combat movements. The fighters that are in Leningrad, one of them will stay there. One of them's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into Moldova. This guy will go up there. He'll stay. These guys will move up. These guys will move up. Mobile units over. And then we'll go ahead and place our units. So we're going to be placing 3 infantry in Leningrad, 3 infantry in Moscow, and then 2 infantry in Kiev, and an infantry in Lviv, and an infantry in Minsk. So the Russians will end their turn collecting 32 IPCs. Alright, guys. This is Poland's manifest destiny. They actually have a chance to do something here and do it right. So we're going to see how this goes. They're spending 10 IPCs on a fighter, and they are going to attack for sure. They cannot liberate Czechoslovakia, although it's pro-Allies. It's pro-French. So they can't liberate that because none of their units can reach it. But they can definitely gobble up some German territories. So they'll go ahead and they'll definitely attack East Prussia. They'll send their cavalry in there and infantry in there to artillery. Into the front line of the Germans, we'll send from Wrocław to Dresden 2 infantry. From Gdansk to Greifswald 2 infantry. And what else do we want to send up? Do we want to hold everything back for counterattack? Maybe. Maybe we do. I don't know. Yeah. Let's just hold everything back for counterattack if the Germans, and when the Germans take these territories back. This fighter will go ahead and go 1-2. He'll strafe there. So we'll roll that battle for East Prussia and see how it goes. Alright, so Poland won the Battle of East Prussia at the loss of a cavalry, and so they'll go ahead and land this fighter back in Wrocław. They'll move everything from Gdansk down to Wrocław. 2 infantry from Warsaw will move up to Poznan, and they'll go ahead and place their fighter there in Warsaw. So they're actually collecting $10 now, thanks to gobbling up $2 from German monies, beautiful dollar bills. And that'll bring it to London's turn. Alright, so it's Britain's turn, and we've got diplomacy first. The only 2 nations that are not aligned right now are Greece and Turkey, so we'll go for those. Greece fails, Turkey also fails. Didn't really roll that, we'll just try. I don't know if that was cheating or not, because I don't feel like I rolled it the first time, but I'll go ahead and take the fail. I just didn't feel like I rolled it, but yeah. I'm not going to take a hit on that one. So, for purchasing, Britain has 48 bucks. They're spending it all on a battleship, 2 infantry, 2 transports, and a fighter. They need to replace that fighter that just died to the Germans in that little sea battle, a little play date that they had together. And for combat moves, we're going to see if we can hit something with all of our dive bombers there. So we could hit this, and actually we're going to hit that because it is unprotected from fighters. The Germans should have definitely landed that fighter in Dunkirk, but we're going to take this over. It's going to be a little dogfight. We're going to wreak havoc on that territory. So we're actually going to designate our strategic bomber to hitting the airbase. Everything else is going to go for land units. Well, that quite literally could not have gone any better. The British won the dogfight, destroying both German planes. Then all their dive bombers got 2 hits, destroying the infantry. And then the bomber rolled a 6, which does 8 damage, and air bases can only take 5 damage. So Belgium is now completely barren. I would say that was an effective attack. Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but that's what I would call that. So we'll go ahead and shuffle all these planes back over to London. The anti-air from Manchester will go ahead and go down to London as well. And they're going to send 4 infantry from London up to Manchester. And that is only because now northern Britain is under threat from being amphibiously assaulted. I actually didn't think to use that heavy bomber over there, but can we move it? Not really, because we have to build our fighter here. Oh, do we have to build a fighter there? We don't have to. So yeah, we can go ahead and build or move this bomber. 1. We don't want to fly it over that battleship for sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it was at an airbase, so 7. So it can land in London. That is the max of 5 we can hold with 4 air bases. And then, of course, this guy, since the nationalists wisely were not invited to the Axis, we'll go ahead and land him in Coimbra. And we'll liberate Portugal real quick. Okay, so the Portuguese decided to buy 4 infantry and 1 tank as their purchase for the British. So that ends British non-combat movements. So they'll go ahead and place their units. They're buying 2 transports, putting those in Season 17, as well as 1 battle wagon. And then they're going to build their 2 infantry in London. And the fighter is actually going to go in Stockholm for now. We're going to see if that can come in use up in the north. So Britain is going to end their turn collecting... Oh, I didn't move them up. They go up 5 from Portugal. So they're getting 27 from their money, 4 from Tension, 6 from the Dutch, 5 from France, and then an additional 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 from convoys. So I will math that in my head, and they'll have that much money for next round. All right, so Britain collected 50 bucks on their return, and they're just making an ungodly amount of money because their economy is ramping so much faster than any other nation because they're able to grab all these neutrals, and that is helping out a ton. Of course, they're getting the government in exile rules, and they're getting tension, but the flawless rolling and aligning nations has definitely helped out. So it's France's turn, and they get their diplomatic actions, so they're going to see if they can align Greece. And they can. Oh, look at that. So Greece will become pro-allied. Get a ship here. And go ahead and slap that down. That's pro-allied. And, yeah, so go ahead and roll for Turkey, too. I mean, that's all that's really left. Diplomacy is going to be void here in a couple rounds, and that is a fail. So, okay, so then they can't buy anything, but they do have 1 combat move. They're going to send 6 of the 8 infantry in Marseille into Switzerland. The Italians left that pretty weak, so they're going to see if they can take that and make Germany have an even harder time holding onto their territory. Alright, so France lost 1 infantry, taking Switzerland, and so, yay, they technically did something. So that's exciting. Then they're going to go ahead and start shuffling their fleet away. 1, 2, and through the Straits of Gibraltar. 3. And hopefully that will have enough time to get up to join the British fleet. That Italian fleet is absolutely terrifying, and that Italian fleet does not have access to the Straits of Gibraltar as of right now. So that French fleet is safe. However, if the nationalist Spanish join the Axis, then not so much. All right, so moving on to Italy's turn. All right, so at this point, every nation is just basically going to be seeing if they can align Turkey at the beginning of their turn. So here we go. Nope, Italy cannot do it. And so Italy has 29 bucks to spend. They're spending 28 of it. They're buying a bunker, 3 infantry, and 1 dive bomber. They're saving $1 for next round. And on to combat moves. So now they need to grab as much money as they can this round. So obviously they need to try to take Switzerland back. Can they do that? Yes, they can. So these 3 mobile infantry can go 1, 2, as well as infantry and cavalry from Austria. And then the 2 infantry, mobile infantry, and cavalry from Turin can also go in there. So that should sway it in our favor. They're also going to take Marseille, but they're going to do that amphibiously. So they're going to swing battleships, 2 light cruisers, a heavy cruiser over. Those will bombard 4. 2 transports, bringing in, say, these 2 infantry and 2 from Rome. Actually, let's take 1 from Rome, and then let's take this tankette as well. So there. And we'll have a whole bunch of bombardments there. I mean, bombardments are ridiculous. So all these ships will be getting 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8. So they'll get 15 chances, 15 bombardment dice against those 2 poor infantry. The infantry will still get to defend against the land units, but goodness gracious. Yeah, they're going to die. So then the 2 remaining transports here will pick up an infantry each. Should have chipped these out, but I'll do it now. Go ahead and use some paratrooper sculpts, because why not? And they will go down 1 and 1, 2. Actually, they can go 1, 2, 3. So one of them is going to land in Algiers, and the other one is going to land in Morocco. So they're going to grab those 2 bucks and a victory point for the Axis. So I'll roll this battle, and we'll see how that goes. Alright, so Italy obviously captured those 2 territories in North Africa. They took Switzerland at the loss of 2 infantry and 1 infantry, 2 cavalry. Took out all the French stuff there, and then they took Marseille. But the 2 French infantry there destroyed 3 Italian infantry before they went down. That was some ridiculously good rolling from the French. My goodness. So now for non-combat movements. We'll go ahead and send these 2 guys from Hungary down to Serbia, and then we'll place our units. So a bunker goes in Serbia, as well as 2 infantry. Boom, boom. Whoop. So the bunker does not take up a factory production. It counts as a facility, and they like a naval base or an air base or a dockyard, so it doesn't take up production. 1 infantry in Rome, 1 dive bomber in Rome, and that'll do it. Italy will be collecting 32 bucks now at the end of their turn. Okay, so a round 5 recap, or the spring of 1938, before we go into the fall of 1938. For victory points, Germany is now at 14, or the Axis are at 14. So they need to get 9 more in order to achieve an Axis victory. Russia, or the Comintern, they have gathered no more victory points, so they are still at 9. And Britain got 1 extra point since 1 extra turn has passed. So, looking like the Axis are doing pretty well. That is in terms of victory points, but in terms of what what they've got going for them, in the surrounding areas. It looks scary. The Allies are very powerful right now, and the Axis do not have a ton of units on the board. So now that Italy has joined the war, they're going to actually help a lot. They have a ton of infantry, ton of ships. So surprisingly, they're going to be quite the force to be reckoned with. So we'll see how round 6 goes here in just a second. All right, starting off round 6, we've got Nationalist Spain going. They've got $14 to spend. They're spending it all on 2 infantry, 2 artillery. All that goes to the bank. They have no combat moves as they're not at war yet, and they're not going to declare war because that would be really dumb. The only reason they don't want to declare war is they would be willing to do it and sink this transport, but their transport would be sunk, and they don't want that. So they'll skip to non-combat moves and use this transport, swing over to 28, and pick these two guys up from Tangier and drop them off in Seville. The infantry and artillery in Madrid will go to Badajoz. The guy in Bilbao will go to Zaragoza. All the stuff in Barcelona will also go to Zaragoza. And then we'll place our units. So we've got 2 infantry and an artillery going to Madrid, and then an artillery going in Seville, and they'll collect their $14 again. Alright, I forgot one very important move. They're going to move all 3 of these ships, since they're not at war with the Allies yet. They're going to move them 1, 2, 3, up to Sea Zone 15. Very important, almost forgot that. This one, 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, that one can move up there too, so it will. And then that will end their turn. Alright, so it's Germany's turn. They have $38 to spend. They're going to spend 36 of it on 6 infantry, 3 anti-air guns. They're saving $2 for next round. And for combat moves, they'll go ahead and send the light tank from Orleans down to Bergerac and take that for free. And then one of the mobile infantry that I should have had shipped out. Let me go ahead and find one real quick, because there's one on top. We'll go ahead and take Caen. So now all of France is German. Oh, forgot to mention, diplomacy. We're inviting Nationalist Spain to the Axis, and they will obviously accept. So now Nationalist Spain is in the Axis, and one last combat move. The 6 infantry in Berlin are going to go to Dresden and try to take that back from the Poles. So I'll go ahead and roll that real quick. One other thing we can do, just because we may as well, forgot 2 more combat moves. Just forgetting little things we can do. 3 infantry from Hamburg are going to go to Denmark, supported by a bomber. And then the 2 tanks in Nancy are going to go up through Belgium and take Holland. Alright, so the attack on Denmark was successful. We lost 1 infantry, and Dresden was also successful, losing 2 infantry, killing their 2 infantry. So an even trade there. And for non-combat moves, we're going to land our bomber back in Berlin. We're going to ship our battleship and our 2 transports over to Sea Zone 15 to join that Nationalist Spain fleet. These 2 tanks are going to go through Marseille up to Orleans. And the fighter from Bordeaux is going to go to Paris. The mobile infantry from Paris will go to Orleans. And that'll do it for Germany. So they're going to place 6 infantry in Berlin and 1 anti-air gun in Hamburg and 2 anti-air guns in Paris. And that'll end their turn. They're collecting $33 plus 5 from convoys. Actually, 3 of those IPCs in the convoy are being destroyed. So they'll collect 33 plus 2 from convoys. So 35 total. Alright, I forgot to do this on Germany's turn, but they can go ahead and align Turkey, and they missed. Now it's Russia's turn, and I always forget to do the neutral purchases after the end of the round, because Russia's always going to war with those neutrals. So Romania will have built another infantry in Bucharest. So now Russia can try to align Turkey. They also fail. And then Russia is going to guarantee the independence of Czechoslovakia. So basically, Czechoslovakia, what everyone is doing is if Germany declares war on Czechoslovakia, Czechoslovakia is pro-French, so they'll join the Allies, but that will also call the Comintern in at war with the Axis, and the Axis don't want that. So that gives them even less incentive, not that they have any, to declare on Czechoslovakia anyway, but now they have a lot of incentive to not. So Russia is at war with Romania, and they need to get to Bulgaria, which they can. but can they? So they can. It's combat moves right now. So this is, I actually have a question for the guy I'm developing this game with. Would I be able to do this? Blitz through Timisoara and into Bulgaria to liberate. Liberating a nation counts as a non-combat move. So this would count as a combat move, and blitzing to Sofia would count as a non-combat move. So I don't think we could legally liberate Bulgaria on this turn, but we can next turn. So here's what we're going to do. Can we take Bucharest? How many infantry do they have here? 10. That's 20 dice. This guy's 4 dice. What can we get there? We can get 2 fighters, 1, 2, 3, 4 tanks. So 4, 4, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24 dice. 24 dice, 28 dice. We could try around 20. I'd have about 30 dice. So I'm going to try 1 round of combat in there. So I'll blitz these guys in. Sorry for the camera. I'm looking at the board, not the camera all the time. Odessa, blitz through Lassie, and then everything else will blitz through Timisoara and come down to Bucharest. So that if it fails, they will still be in Timisoara. And then the 2 fighters will fly over and strafe. We'll see how that goes. It's probably just going to last for 1 round, and then they're going to retreat. And, well, since it's combat moves, these guys also have to go down. So these 2 infantry will go into Lassie, 2 infantry will go into Diva, and then all these infantry will go into Timisoara as well. And we'll see how that goes. Alright, so Russia pulled back after 1 round, as I figured they would. They lost to cavalry and a mobile infantry and only killed 2 infantry of the Romanians on their turn. So, now in a non-combat, we'll land the 2 fighters in Cluj. Continue shuffling guys down to the front line. And then these guys are also going to start kind of expanding. So this fighter will go 1, 2, 3, 4. Both these fighters actually can't land here because there's not an air base. So they went 1, 2, 3, 4. May as well just land here. Alright, then placing our tanks. We'll place 3 of them in Moscow and 1 of them in Kiev. And then Russia will be collecting, I didn't move them up $3. They'll be collecting 36 IPCs this turn. Alright, it's time for Poland to continue its manifest destiny. They have $10 to spend. They're spending 8 of it on a tank. They're saving $2 again for next round. And here's what they're going to do. They're going to liberate Czechoslovakia because it is pro-allies, so guarantees will go away. But they get to march in there with a tank. They're not going to do any combat this turn. Actually, no, they should. They should definitely do combat first. Yeah, so let's go ahead and try to take Dresden first with basically everything we can. And then they're going to liberate Czechoslovakia, which is going to be fun for them. They have $4 extra and a bunch of extra units. Alright, so Poland won the Battle of Dresden. I forgot to remove their infantry. They annihilated the 4 German infantry there. They got like 8 hits. So they basically double overkilled the German infantry there. So we're doing non-combat moves now. The 2 fighters will land back in Warsaw. These 2 infantry will move up. The 2 artillery and infantry and East Prussia will move up. And then the tankette will go through Krakow and liberate Czechoslovakia. I've got roundels here. There we go. And I'll go ahead and put those units on. Alright, so Poland decided to buy 3 infantry, an anti-air gun, and a mobile infantry in Czechoslovakia. They will go up 1 for Dresden, and 1, 2, 3, 4 for Czechoslovakia. Germany goes down 1 for Dresden. And that's it. That's all for them. So they're gonna... actually, you know what? They're gonna move their cruiser down as well from C-Zone 1 to 3, since that battleship moved. So then they'll go ahead and mobilize their tank in Warsaw, and they will collect 14 IPCs. Alright, so here we are with Britain's turn. I guess they could go out and start with trying to align Turkey, as usual, and nothing. So they start with $50 to spend. They're spending it all on a battleship, 2 infantry, a fighter, and a heavy cruiser. So here we go. We're going to do probably the biggest battle of the game so far. We're going to take our entire fleet and shove it into the Axis fleet up here. Now the Italian fleet will still exist, but this is going to swing the northern part of the map heavily in our favor. So first of all, I just want to say I really wish that they could declare war on the Russians right now, because giving Russia 2 fronts at this point, well, 3 fronts at this point, there'd be a 3-way war, and that's what caused the Allies to win the previous game I played. Is Yugoslavia joined the Allies, and so did Greece, and Russia and the Allies and the Axis were all at war with each other. Comintern Axis allies were all at war with each other, and the Allies came out on top in the Central Europe area here. So they cannot repeat that, because Britain can't declare war on Comintern until the tension is at 8 or higher, and it is only at 5. So they have to wait. There's really no way at this point in the game for tension to be raised either. So they have to wait until Russia can declare war on them, which is going to be by declaring war on Poland. And by the time Russia is comfortable declaring war on Poland, then Poland is pretty much doomed. So we're going to see if we can stall for a little bit. So we're going to send all of our ships, like I said, into the German ships. So there's 3 light cruisers. Boom. As well as a battleship, and supporting that will be our 3 dive bombers. Okay. And can this guy reach? 1, 2, 3. He cannot. Alright, so then our 3 transports from 17 are going to go 1. They're going to pick up 4 guys from Manchester, 2 guys from London, and then they're going to go 2. And assuming all goes well here, they're all going to offload in Hamburg. And that would be an automatic victory, since that anti-air gun cannot defend itself. So then the 2 strategic bombers, or heavy bombers from London, are going to go 1, 2, and bomb Belgium. One is going to bomb German economy, one is going to bomb the factory. And they have no way to defend against that, because the nearest aircraft that can scramble is in Paris, so it cannot reach. It can only reach one space. And they don't have an airbase there, so they don't get any anti-air fire. So, with that being said, I will roll all these dice and see how it goes. Alright, so the British had success, but at a huge cost. They lost their entire fleet there, and one of their planes got shot down. They did destroy the entire German fleet, and so they were able to land those 6 infantry in Hamburg, and so now they'll go to non-combat move. Oh, in addition, Belgium, they only did 1 damage to the factory and 2 damage to the German economy, so Germany had to pay 2 IPCs, which they did, so those bombers had really quite terrible rolling. But they'll go ahead and land all of their planes back in London. 1, 2, and 1, 2. There we go. And then the infantry in Gibraltar will board the French transport, and the British transport will go 1, 2. And then we'll go ahead and place our units. So in Portugal, Coimbra gets an infantry, and Lisbon gets an infantry. And then the heavy cruiser and the battleship go in Sea Zone 17. The fighter goes in London. Alright, so Britain will be collecting a base of 30 IPCs and a bunch, as you've seen, from tension from what France has left and from what the Dutch have left. Oh, forgot this. This destroyer is also going to go 1, 2, 3. And the fighter, I don't think, can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It sure can. Boom. Alright, there we go. That's Britain's turn. Alright, so it's France's turn. They're just going to use the friendly port in Gibraltar for as long as it's friendly. And they're going to go 1, 2, 3. Up into Sea Zone 21. And they're bringing a British infantry boarded on a transport with them. And then we'll get to Italy's turn. Alright, so it's Italy's turn. They're going to try to align Turkey. Oh! Wow! I did not expect that to happen. Well, there you go. Single most powerful neutral in the game is now pro-Italian, so that's only terrifying. Fortunately for everyone else, they can't quite get to it yet. But, yeah, we're going to see how that comes into play. So for combat moves, they do have one kind of cheeky one here. They're going to take the infantry from Morocco, and they're going to go 1, 2, and land in Porto. Grab that extra buck. The reason they can use these Straits of Gibraltar is either you have to control Tangier or Gibraltar to use the strait. So the Axis can use it because they control Tangier, and the Allies can use it because they control Gibraltar. Now, I said that the Axis couldn't use it, but I forgot. Well, at the time, I should say, National Spain was not in the Axis. So now that they are, they can use the strait. So Italy's going to go ahead and grab that buck for free. Other than that, they have 0 combat moves. So, oh, I failed to mention. They have 33 bucks to spend. They spent 32. 2 bunkers, 4 infantry, and 1 artillery. That's what they have to place. So we'll get to non-combat moves, and what do they want to do? Well, they want to get ready to definitely defend against the Russians soon. Take Turkey, I suppose. That's a thing now. So this transport will pick up the guy in Algiers. Actually, nah. We'll just do that. We'll grab that extra buck, too. So we'll just go ahead and take these. Boom. And boom. So France is at 0. Britain goes down 1. Italy goes up 2. Italy's income is now above the German income, as Germany has not had a nice time this game. And Italy has been taking all the neutrals, so that doesn't help. So what Italy wants to do, they'll ship... this transport will come over, grab 2 guys, and go down. So it'll grab 2 guys. And these transports will go 1 and 2 and 3. Not before they grab 4 guys. So I'll chip this out real quick. Alright, so there's 4 they're leaving behind. And they're taking 4 on those transports. Now those transports are going to need to be supported by some ships just in case the Russians get cheeky and decide to declare war and try to sink those transports. So there's a few ships to help out. And then these ships will go down 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Heading to take out the Allied fleet. And I think that about does it for Italy. Although they have this stuff to move too. So it'll all move to Austria, to the Axis and Polish front that is now existent. Also, these 4 infantry in Serbia will move to Croatia. So then we'll go ahead and place units. So an infantry and artillery go into Serbia. 1 bunker goes in Croatia. 1 bunker goes in Austria. And then 3 infantry are going in, if I can grab these, goodness gracious, in Rome. Continuing to just build stuff in Rome. Alright, so Italy will end their turn collecting 34 IPCs. Alright, so here is the recap for the rounds basically, rounds 4, 5, and 6. And Axis are looking really good in terms of victory conditions. Again, they're not in a position to make the victory conditions look good with their units. They're in a very poor position in terms of the units around them. But the Axis are now at 21 victory points, and they need to get to 23 and hold those for a round before they can win the game. So if they take Hamburg and they take Czechia on the German turn and hold all 23 points by the next German turn, then they win the game. Unlikely that they'll hold for an entire round. Their best bet would be to take Czechia and Hamburg, and then also take Lisbon. That would give them 1 extra because they would probably lose 1 to the British, at least 1 to the British. They probably would lose 2 or 3. Belgium, Dunkirk, Bordeaux is also vulnerable. So, yeah, they're at 21. They need to get to 23. The Comintern has not increased from their 9. So they're about to get their 10th here, and they need to get 16 to win, so they still have a ways to go, but they might be declaring war on the Axis soon to get them away from their victory condition. And the Allies go up another point for preventing the Axis from winning for one more round. They're not at war with the Comintern, so they don't need to prevent the Comintern from winning. Of course, they'd like to, but they can't until they're at war. So that is rounds 3 through 6, and I'll be posting another video. Looks like I'm going to be doing 3 rounds per video because of the storage on my phone. That's all my phone can handle holding. So hope you guys are enjoying it so far. This has been a really weird game. I can say that much because of what each nation's doing. Like an offensive Poland is kind of strange. I've done it with them in the early days, but that was when they were extremely unbalanced. Now that they're a little bit more balanced, Germany has just ignored them for too long. So we're going to see if the Axis can get those 2 extra victory points and grab a win here, or if they're just going to get smothered from all sides. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it.